the year 2020 also took major decisions towards improving the supply of power and water for enhanced standard of living in benefiting communities. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
Presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, the robust meeting of the Council was the 38th in the series for the year 2020 and 29th to be held virtually since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Addressing the deficit in critical roads infrastructure once again took the front burner as several memoranda aimed at achieving the objective were considered and approved for execution. One of them, presented by Works and Housing Minister on behalf of FEMA, is for the general and emergency repairs, maintenance, and critical intervention on 10 routes in different parts of the country at 8.1 billion naira.
One is the maintenance of Ikote-Kwene-Itu road in Cross River State, repair and maintenance of Onitsha-Aguleri-Adani road, the general maintenance of Nasarawa-Toto-Abaji road, general maintenance of Ukene-Adogo-Ajaokuta-Itobe road in Kogi State, the construction of Aden Bridge between Okada and Ugugui-Abangwe Spur to Benin-Shagamu road, general maintenance repairs of Potiskum-Fika-Ngada-Gombe road.
Similarly, 31.6 billion naira documentation has also been approved for the completion of Independence Avenue as well as Constitution Avenue, including the cycle road in the Central Business District of Abuja, thereby increasing the total contract sum of the project from 66.8 billion naira to 98.5 billion naira.
It is the contract for Abuja because it's the one that links that huge expanse that we call the Central Business District, spanning from Moshood Abiola Stadium right through to the National Assembly. On one side of the road is the Constitution Avenue, the other one is the Independence Avenue.
Still for the FCT, the Council has given a go-ahead for the procurement of fill materials and chemicals for water treatment by the FCT Water Board at 827 million naira. Two memoranda presented by the Minister of Power, Salim Mamman, were also considered and approved.
One is the revised estimated total cost of the contract of the construction of infrastructure at the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria permanent site here in Abuja. The total cost is 88.046 million.
The Federal Executive Council also approved the extension of contract time for consultancy services in respect of the management and supervision of the ongoing construction of the Zungeru Hydropower Project in Niger State at 4.7 billion naira. The next meeting of the Council, Nigeria's highest policy decision-making body, comes up in January 2021. From the State House, Adamu Sambu.
Prior to the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, the Federal Fire Service has only two fire trucks, one in Abuja and the other in Lagos. But this has changed drastically over the years. Fire is friend to no man or object. It is for this reason that the Federal Fire Service and the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation are partnering to reduce the burden of combating fire incidences in the country with a call for more interagency synergy in making government efforts more profitable. Leah Kato Babatunde was there and our reports.
April 2020, a section of the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation went up in flames. It was curtailed promptly by combined efforts from sister agencies and the defense formations in the capital city. Fire outbreaks have consumed lives and properties across the country, a cost exacerbated by weak insurance penetration. 8 months later, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation had the fire's opportunity to serve not only the office companies but environs, all affected areas and more now were a better look.
It's Nigerians be sensitized to be aware
and in the event of fire, the necessary protocols to take to ensure that we can minimize loss of life and loss of property.
Energy authorities look out for in tackling the menace of fire outbreaks in the country.
We have about 106 firefighting vehicles with the federal fire service to cover the entire country, but still, it's not enough.
People should support the agencies of government, charged with one responsibility or the other, in their own ways, in their own little ways, as their own localities. And that is going to help the people, the public, and the generality of Nigerians.
The ultimate goal of the Federal Fire Service is to be present in every senatorial district and is seeking the support of good-spirited Nigerians in making it happen. The Accountant General of the Federation has initiated 2 substations and earned a special recognition for that cause in Abuja.
To curtail the spread of the new spike of COVID-19 and avert related hardship, medical experts encourage Nigerians to raise their guard and be more health conscious. The medics assure that the simple preventive measures, especially the age-long regular hand washing, can reduce exposure to coronavirus or its severity. Informer Ikoji reports.
Since February 2020, when Nigeria was confronted by the new coronavirus, declared a pandemic by World Health Organization, like other nations, the country enforced such preventive measures as a physical distancing, use of personal protective equipment, and different degrees of lockdown to protect the citizens. Now, for the fear of the new spike of COVID-19 recorded in some countries of the world, some Nigerians have adopted self-preventive measures, while others are patronizing herbal mixtures to avoid being infected.
I do go when I enter these foods, these Yoruba people. There's a place they sell their market things. We collect all this ginger, this lemongrass, lime, grape, those grape. There's a way they ask us to prepare all of them. We actually prepare them. We do the same thing. You are getting my point, but I believe it works.
In the morning time, empty stomach, you take it one shot. That lokonya, you cook it and take it. Use your clothes and cover yourself.
Use that we can prevent ourselves from being infected by the pandemic. So I use our salt. I put the salt in my boiling water and then took my bath. After that, I also use lime also. So using washing my hands,
They will combine all the leaves together, boil it, and then they will cover themselves with the blankets, and you see them sweating. And when they sweat, they believe that the concoction or the remedy has been effective.
The question, however, is, has any scientific study been taken to test the efficacy of these homegrown remedies?
We have not carried out any scientific studies to determine the efficacy of any of these things that people have used. However, the one that has been studied a bit is chloroquine, which incidentally is the same active ingredient inside the Gonyaro. So the studies for now have not shown a very clear benefit of using those agents. However, what I would say is that any supplement that you take that can improve your immunity may be helpful, being that this virus tends to be more virulent in people who have lower immunity.
And is there any breakthrough in research for preventive vaccines?
We've heard of vaccines, 2 from the US and recently 1 from UK that has shown promise. So I think they are undergoing the process of giving approvals. So before they start circulating around the world.
While the country awaits a widespread administration of a tested and approved vaccine, Nigerians are advised to remain cautious by keeping to the simple preventive measures.
Face mask, covering your mouth and your nose. Wash your hands regularly, keep a distance, avoid crowding. Whether there are vaccines or not, those simple rules matter and they do make a difference.
Even if they cannot protect from the infection completely, but one of the things we believe is that they reduce the severity of the infection. So they reduce the amount of the virus that comes into your body, and that will make the infection to be milder. So I think we should continue with those things until the vaccine is widely available.
Yo, before my eyes with you.
You may have noticed crowds around offices of the National Identity Management Commission in recent days. Why is this so? And what is being done about it? Victor Azu was at the NIMC headquarters to find out why.
This is a new face of most National Identity Management Commission NIMC offices across the country, since the federal government ordered telecommunications companies to disconnect all phone lines not identified with a national identity number NIN. The crowd here at the Commission's headquarters wouldn't even allow the NTA crew access through the main gate.
For these ones right here behind me, the desperation to keep their lines open and working supersedes fear of contracting the unrelenting COVID-19.
The crowd is too much. The federal government is supposed to look into it. For the past 3 years, I've enrolled for the national ID, and tonight has not come out.
At the back gate, we met a smaller crowd, but the conflicts remained.
They asked us to follow line, but they now open another door at the back, collecting people, which people are gathering there more than 6 hours.
We then went up to get an explanation. It would seem that previous deadlines for NIN registration were not heeded, hence the crowds.
The first group of people is me and you that already have NIN, and then we have multiple SIMs. We should take care of these things. You don't need to panic, you don't need to do anything. But if you have SIM and you don't have NIN, then that is where we have problems, that we need to be registered. And those are the people that you have seen.
The NIMC DG, however, promises that there will be more centers to aid registration in the new year.
The 3-week extension notwithstanding.
Victor is right here with us in the studio. Victor, thank you for joining us.
A pleasure.
Now, we want you to tell us more on the situation surrounding the registration of the national identity number.
Well, there's nothing new about this registration for the national identity number. It's the same as had been given previously. The only thing I get as impression from all of this is that Nigerians love to leave things late. And so at the 11th hour, everybody wants to rush. Now, they have the previous deadlines. There is another now, and the rush is on. Unfortunately, NIMC hasn't got the facilities as it is now to deal with the rush in one fell swoop. And so that accounts for the kind of crowds you see at the various offices simply because phone lines are now present.
Now, what was the impression you got when you went there? What was the situation on ground?
Again, the situation on ground was that of a people who are desperate, so desperate to have their phone lines on, up, and running, that there was disregard for the COVID-19 protocols. Many of them didn't have masks on. Those who had it under their jaws. A few wore it and wore it correctly, but then certainly there was no physical distancing. And unfortunately, NIMC hasn't got the control over what happens outside its four walls of its premises. So personal responsibility is advised in all of this.
Okay, now let's talk about the registration process. What was your impression?
Again, the registration process is the same. NIMC has said if you ever had NIN, the national identity number, then you need not worry. There must be a way from the information extracted from you at the time you did your NIN registration And then you have phone lines. There were information you gave out when you did that. They would, between the telcos and NIMSI, be able to link those the data here and there. You don't need to go to join those who have never had NIM to crowd all the places. It is if you have never registered, if you never had NIM, that is a bit of a problem. But it's not so much of a problem. All you need to do is present yourself, be orderly while doing that, and within a short time, they just take a few details they need, do the capturing, and you are off.
In some quarters, it was being, or it is being speculated that at the time when there was a rush for the registration of BVN, that there was automatical allocation of the name. I don't know how true that is.
I think that once the reverse is actually the case. I think, if I remember correctly, that when we are registering for BVN, NIN was a requirement. And so if you successfully did your BVN registration, there was a NIN given at the time. Unfortunately, some people may have a NIN and they can't remember that they have a NIN. They don't know where they wrote it and they can't retrieve it. But there is a way to retrieve it electronically, which NIN has continued to talk about. I think it's 346 hash or so, and you'll be able to retrieve it. So those category or that category of persons also need not go to crowd of the NIMSI offices. Let's leave the space for those who never had their NIN and who need to do so now.
Yeah, we in your report, we saw that you had a chat with the man at the helm of affairs of the NIMSI. Now, of course, you couldn't give us the whole talk. Now, if you can tell us, give us more insight on the conversation.
Well, I did have a chat with the DG of NIMSI, Engineer Liu Aziz, and a major takeaway from that conversation is that things will not continue like this for a long time. Now, NIMSI has 43 million people captured. It took so long to do that. But he has assured that from next year, courtesy of a World Bank assistance, that they will be able to build or be able to open up several more registration centers, which will make the process quicker and smoother. Then every data collecting agency of government will be able to also register people. Talk about the FRSC, the Nigerian Immigration Service, PFAs, and so on, who get any form of data. The data they get will go straight to the ecosystem. They call it ecosystem. It's a central database where all this information will go to. And NIMSI will be able to collect and develop from there. So it becomes easier from 2021 and it's going to be quicker. So I look forward to a situation, for instance, where from 43 million out of an estimated population of over 200 million, we'll double that or triple it in the next year. And that will be something to share.
Yes, sometime earlier in the day, I started thinking about children who don't have need. Okay. It's so difficult for adults to get one. What about children who have phone lines?
I have seen children when parents are going, they are needing, they just take their parents, they take their children there. I've seen children being captured at NIMSI. It's just like when you also want your passport, international passport, you need to make a family trip. If a parent is going there, just take the children along. No child is sent on his or her own to go get the name. You take them there, and the due process is taken. They are captured accordingly, and they have it. And once you have it, well, you have it for life.
Now, Victor, tell us, do you think the deadline given will be feasible for all Nigerians to be registered?
Well, Lydia, let's do a little arithmetic. There are 43 million Nigerians already captured who have their name. The estimate is that Nigeria is a population of over 200 million. If it took so long to register 43 million, then it is grossly unrealistic to think that it will take this short period to register the remaining over 150 million. But I think that shouldn't discredit the process. Nigerians must make themselves available, trust the process. Let's even see, do your part. Let's see the much that can be captured at this time. The remaining can be done later, but let's trust the process and yield to it, and let's see where we are at the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Victor, for sharing your thoughts with us on the program. We're indeed glad to have you on the correspondence.
Thank you.
And that concludes this episode of the correspondence. We hope you join us again next week. I am Lydia Ochi.